And we're back, guys, with another one. Bill Bedenbaugh this time crosses the pond and takes a 3-star offensive lineman out of London, England. And guys, we've had Daniel Akinkunmi here on the podcast before. And we've talked about his potential as a recruit, right? You're not getting this guy because of what he's done yet in high school. You're doing it because there's so much potential, raw potential here for a guy that has only played football for like 2 years, and he can learn and develop a lot under Bill Bedenbaugh. We know he's really good at that. So, although right now he's a 3-star, maybe by the time that it's time for Daniel Akinkunmi to go to the league or graduate, this ends up being what could have been a 5-star kid out of high school, right? You get him under the right development, you get him in Schmidt's program, and Daniel Akinkunmi is going to develop really well. Now, for those of you who don't know who this kid is, he's a 6'4.5", 310-pound offensive lineman out of London, England. He took a visit to Oklahoma on September 1st, and I actually got a chance to meet him in person and talk to him. And really nice kid. Like I said, we've had him here on the podcast to do an interview before, and you really get the sense at that time that Oklahoma made a huge impression and that they were going to close the deal on this one. And sure enough, you saw him leave Oklahoma, cancel his other visits, and, well, a commitment date came pretty quickly after that. So this commitment came in the wee hours of the morning. For some of you, it'd be wee hours of the morning at 8 o'clock a.m. So it's a different time. Usually you see these in the afternoon, but no, Daniel Akinkunmi commits at 8 a.m. I believe in London it was a little bit earlier than that. So really exciting for Oklahoma here. This helps them keep them at number 7 in the team recruiting rankings. So it doesn't boost them up. I don't expect that Daniel Akinkunmi is going to be a guy that scratches 4-star territory, but this is a really, really good 3-star kid. And like I said, if developed right, who knows? Maybe if he was in college for 4 years, or if he was in high school for 4 years, maybe this ends up being a 5-star kid in overall. So Oklahoma looking good there, and really probably looking to take a really strong offensive line class. If you guys watched some of the previous videos, we talked about some of those predictions that are coming in for Eddie Pierre-Louis, who, if Oklahoma can go out there and land this guy, I think a lot of you guys have seen some of the videos circulating from him on Twitter where, he's out running kids on track. Yes, and he plays a little bit of basketball. So again, he kind of fits that theme that you're seeing a lot of the staff go after, which is they want kids that are dynamic, that can play multiple sports. They're multi-sport athletes, and they can do different things. You'd love to see it there. Additionally, Oklahoma's still waiting on Grant Bricks, right? So if you land Grant Bricks, Eddie Pierre-Louis, and you get Daniel Akinkunmi with what you already have in an Isaiah Autry, a Eugene Brooks, a Josh Isosa, and guys like that, then you're looking at this class and you're going, all right, I'm loving what Bill Bedenbaugh's doing here. And although you lost out on Bennett Warren or, some of those guys that were in the higher echelon of the offensive line class, you feel really good about what you got, right? This was a weird year for offensive linemen. So just kind of put it for what it is. But, even if you don't land at Grant Bricks, you still got 2025 where it's just as deep. You can go get yourself a Michael Fasusi, a Ty Haywood. You can go get yourself a Lamont Rogers. There's 2 guys from Bishop Gorman that Oklahoma could go after. We know what they've done recently in that area for guys that they wanted. So it's something interesting. The offensive line is going to have to be an area that we watch for Oklahoma, especially with, I believe we could see up to 4 or 5 guys leave the offensive line this year, just aging out of the program or going to the NFL draft. So I think you're looking at McCade Matau, you're looking at Andrew Rame, Walter Rouse, Caleb Schaefer, I believe McCade Matauer, and then, if Tyler Guyton is as good as we think he is and he can be a first-round pick or second-round pick, you would expect Tyler Guyton would probably make his way out as well. So it's going to be something that we have to watch because the offensive line is going to be an interesting position for Oklahoma over the next couple of years. They've recruited it really well, and you've seen that in Caden Green, but you want to see them finish strong in this specific cycle in 2024. Now, Oklahoma's got some other commitments coming up. You've got Michael Boganowski here coming. You're still looking for a commitment date from Devon Jordan. I feel like this one's going to continue to drag out a little longer, and Oklahoma's going to have to fight, the TCUs and the Alabamas and the A&Ms of the world. So that's going to be one that you want to keep your eyes out on. And I know Oklahoma fans, you guys want to talk about the flips. You want to talk about the 5-star prospects. Sammy Brown's not happening, guys. Sammy Brown's probably going to stay at Clemson. Just you feel like it would have to be a disastrous season, probably not even going bowling for Clemson to lose that guy. So not really looking at that one. Bryant Wesco is the question mark because you've heard so many rumblings, whether it's on the social medias or on the YouTubes, talking about, is Bryant Wesco going to flip? Is there interest there? Listen, I think this is going to be one of those things where I'm sitting at the game because you guys know I sit right above the recruits. I see Bryant Wesco and, hey, we're saying, hey, Bryant Wesco's here, guys, right? I think it's going to be one of those things. It's going to be the same for Williams Nwaneri, the 5-star defensive lineman out of Lee Summit, Missouri, that Oklahoma is still chasing. I know a lot of OU fans have had questions there, right? Is OU going to be able to flip him? You've got Kamori Moore committed in this class now. You feel good about where you sit with Isaiah Mosey, but you really want to be able to land the prized prospect out of the school. Ideally, for Missouri, if they continue to win probably 2 more games and they get to 6 or 7, it's going to be pretty hard to pull, I think, Williams Nwaneri. I think OU would have to go to a national championship at that point. And I still don't know if that's going to be good enough. I remember we talked about it the other day, and I was in a group chat with somebody, and they said that they think Williams Nwaneri is already doing commercials out in the state of Missouri, which, like I said, when I hear all that, I think it's harder. But I think, as the coming months go on, maybe even as we get through October and you really see where Missouri and Oklahoma land, I think that's when you're really going to start to get a good feel for Williams Nwaneri and what's going to happen on that front. Dominic McKinley, the 5-star defensive lineman that we lost to A&M. I think the big question there is, does A&M fall off, right? I think there's games that they can lose, games that they probably will lose. And right now they're sitting at 4-2. And I mean, just like we were talking about last year, hey, the seat is hot for Jimbo. I think it's going to be just as hot this year. The question is, can Texas A&M be able to overcome some of the offensive woes and resurrect their season? They go up against Tennessee this week, and we know Tennessee can move the ball when they want to. If you drop to 4-3 and you have to play South Carolina at home, well, Spencer Rattler's not playing that bad. And then you have to go to Ole Miss, where they're going to sling the ball, and then you get probably 2 easy wins, Mississippi State and Albine Christian. But then you have to go to Death Valley and play LSU. At that point, do you get to the point where you're making a good bowl game? I mean, 2 more wins gets them bowling. I think they're going to get to that point. They're not going to go 5-7 like they did last year. That's going to be interesting. We got to watch the situation down there at College Station, because not only could it cost them Dominic McKinley and maybe even the 5-star athlete Terry Bussey, it could cost them guys that are already on that team, guys that Oklahoma's looked at, right? So we've talked about defensive linemen at Texas A&M hitting the transfer portal. What occurs this season might actually cause those guys to finally kind of trend that direction, right? Hit the portal, test the waters, see what's out there. Not saying you're going to go get a David Hicks or a Levius Overton or a Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy, right? All those guys were interested in Oklahoma at one point. But, you could potentially see maybe one of those guys, or maybe some other defensive lineman that Todd Bates goes, yeah, I want that guy. Because 2025 class, it's not I feel like strong for really anybody, but I don't feel like there's a lot of prospects that just fit for Oklahoma. I think you take Xavier Ukponu out of Denton Geyer, Ethan Utley out of Nashville, Tennessee. And then, of course, you've got Kamori Moore. Those are the guys that I look at and say, hey, yeah, I could expect those to be in Oklahoma's class, but really don't see anything outside of that, outside of your Oklahoma kids. You got CJ Nixon and Alex Shieldknight, so we'll have to keep an eye on those and get a filler for that. But aside of that, guys, the 2024 class for Oklahoma is starting to really fill up. I think we're starting to get to the end game here. What's going to happen with Reggie Powers? The guy is more of a cheetah, I think, for Oklahoma than a safety. That might be the pitch over somebody else to be able to land his commitment. But I think it's something that we got to watch here. So, guys, I want to hear from you, and I really want to hear what y'all's thoughts are. So make sure you're jumping down in the comments below. Let me know who else do you think Oklahoma's committing. Are you guys excited about Daniel Akinkunmi? Because we're going to have him back on the podcast to break down his commitment. And I want to see you guys show up for that. I want to see you guys that. So ask questions down in the comments. We will feature those questions to Daniel Akinkunmi below. And then additionally, if you guys haven't already, you guys need to make sure you do two things for me. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. Lets me know you guys like this recruiting content so that I can continue to bring it to you.